We are back for another recap video, this time of the RLCS NA Open Qualifier Event 2. In this video I'm just going to be recapping basically some of the results, some of the play that happened, some of how the teams performed compared to expectations. And then I'll give you kind of like my thoughts on the regional, how teams are, my thoughts on some of how teams are, teams that overperformed, underperformed, and yeah, let's get into the video. Before we get into this video, if you are interested in a Rocket League and a Rocket League Esports content especially, which if you're watching this video I assume you are, please can you take your time to subscribe to this channel. It's very quick, it's very easy, and it goes a long way in helping support me and my channel. Alright, as you can see I've got the finals of the Luminosity G2 game as in the background as we talk, just for you guys to watch as well. By the way, if I look over here, which I am doing, I've got the results on my monitor as well. I've got Wikipedia up. Link to that in the description as well, in case you want to see all the results and the bracket stuff. So if I'm not looking at the camera, which I am getting used to, I am looking at the results here. So let's start with round one of the Swiss stage. Surprisingly, I guess for NA especially, surprisingly, we got an upset, and this definitely the highlight of round one is this Dignitas versus Omelette match. Now Dignitas, let's just safe to say they really underperformed this event. They were top four last event, same with Shopper Rebellion who didn't even make the top 16. And yeah, Dignitas, honestly, I don't want to like single anyone out, so I'm just gonna say that I think all of them just really heavily underperformed compared to last regional. I mean, I don't know why that is, whether that's just um, whether it's just pressure or they just had a bad day. It can happen, but yeah, so it's really disappointing for Dignitas. As you can see, the overtimes were very long as well. 3 OTs. What's that? Nearly like 14 minutes worth of overtimes in a Game 5 series. So that was quite the nail biter, but yeah, I mean, Dignitas started off slow to Omelette, which we'll get onto more of Dignitas later because, as you know, that wasn't their only bad result, but definitely not the ideal start. Um, Other noteworthy results, I mean, we had Genji OG again. Pretty much went exactly as you expected, exactly how last time played out. Genji just a better team. OG once again starting off very slow. I mean, you can see the first two games 5-1, 5-2. You'd expect a team of their quality. I mean, I know OG are a big talking point whether they're mechanical enough to really compete at the top level. They don't really have an outright mechanical guy to really compare to the other teams. But from what I have heard from obviously pros in their interviews, that I mean we heard on the Rettles interview, if you heard that, but they are very good at their game plans and they're very good at adapting their style to try and prevent you or trying to prevent the make the necessary changes to prevent the other team doing their game plan. Um, so yeah, I mean that game went expected. Luminosity won 3-0. They were really good. Strong shots for them. Poa picking up where they left off from their top 8, winning 3-1. Now this was actually a bit worrying. Space Station versus versus the CRL team. Obviously they started off strong, going 2-0 up, and you're just thinking, oh, yeah, it's a sweep. To be honest, you don't expect Space Station to even have competition against a CRL team, but credit where credit's due. They pulled it back, and yeah, I mean they nearly took it. To be honest, Game 5, anything can happen in Game 5. I mean, Space Station eventually clutched it out, but it's definitely gave Space Station fans a bit of a scare of the round one. Definitely not what you expected there. And finally, M80 versus NRG. Um, NRG with Drees this time as well. They've made another roster change. Uh, see if roster number 3 will stick with obviously Frosty and Toasty not working out. So I mean, M18 Swiss. I mean, for NRG, it's not really a bad loss. M18 Swiss are the best team in the world. It seems like uh, they really pop off, and honestly, kind of what you expected. I think this whole round one kind of went how you expected, except for Dignitas losing 3-2 to Omelette. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of like NA as you expect it, to be honest. Alright, moving on to round 2. I don't think there were actually any upsets in this round, actually. Maybe one, actually. G2 beat Omelette 3-1. Uh, pretty much as you expect. 2 overtimes. Omelette played them close. But yeah, G2 prevail. Space Station Luminosity, that was a very tight series. Once again, as you expect, Luminosity can really play pretty much anyone in the region close, maybe except for G2, maybe Gen G as well. We haven't seen that yet. But Space Station prevail. They clutch it out, and yeah, good time for Space Station to be honest. M80 considering continuing their Swiss run, winning every series in Swiss. I mean, we didn't expect them to lose to TSM to be honest. TSM, I kind of hoped to see more from them, kind of expected to see more from them, but was not to be for them. Gen G 3 had Poab, I mean, nothing to say really there. They're just a better team. Yeah, I mean, Gen G are going to do that to the teams that are, but they are better than. They're just going to smoke them, to be honest. Dignitas did bounce back here, 3-1 win. I mean, as expected. The one upset though, the one notable result was OG losing 3-0 to the DXE, and when you see that, you're just thinking, not again, OG. Don't go out 0-3. I mean, that would be so disappointing. Um, Especially like for this roster, man. We know they're so good, and after seeing this, you just kind of just like, I mean, the games were close, but what they scored 3 goals overall. It's just not good enough, really. But OG did bounce back in the end. They did throw the CRL team. Thankfully, they did not go 0-3 again. They are too good to go 0-3 back to back, and they did throw this the CRL team. Other notable matches in this round. NRG 3-0 in Luminosity. I did not see that. Maybe the Drees pickup was the play because they looked really good in this series. Oh, don't get me wrong, Luminosity did not play very well in this series. They played quite bad, to be honest. Quite shocking Rocket League, but good result for NRG. Definitely, I feel like with NRG, you never really expect them to get any notable results against teams kind of around their skill level or teams above them. So this was like the first time in a while I've really seen NRG really get like a proper notable result against a good team. TSM losing 3-0 to Instinct. I mean, like I said, TSM are so disappointing, man. I really expected them to be, honestly, I expected them to be like top 8, maybe. I mean, maybe that's my fault for overrating them, but I really expected more from this TSM roster, and it's just disappointing to see, to be honest. Dignitas losing to Pirates on a boat was also something I didn't really expect because obviously last regional Dignitas beat Pirates in a boat in the quarterfinals. Don't get me wrong, it was actually a close series, 4-2 in the end. So it's not the biggest upset in the world for me, but I expected Dignitas to continue to build on that top 4 result and losing to Pirates on a boat. I feel like it's a team you just have to win. The team you just have to beat, especially considering you beat them last regional, and they are in the race as well. So it's just a team you really need to not lose to, that's for sure. But credits to Pirates on the Boat. They really, I mean, I didn't expect them to be that good. To be honest, I didn't really know who a couple of them were before. Obviously, I knew Andy, I knew Aris. I didn't really know Five Up very well, but credit to them. They're really performing as well. Uh, into the higher matches, G2 going 3-0 in Swiss. I mean, they are they own an A right now, and yeah, 3-1 series. I mean, it was pretty comfortable to be honest. And they lost one into overtime. The score lines are quite heavy in their favour as well. I mean, yeah, nothing more to say to be honest. And then M83 owing Gen G. I mean, I don't know what it is, but there's M80. Obviously, I said before they own Swiss. They always go through, but they own Gen G as well. They really like just own Gen G. I don't know if it's just the Jack has just got a mental block against Joyous or it's something about their play style. I don't know, but it's just M80 just cannot or Gen G just cannot beat M80. And once again, I wonder if it was in the playoffs, it would be a different story considering the mental block M80 have in the playoffs, but in Swiss at least, this matchup is all M80. Moving on to round 4, Genji being Omelette, as you expect to see, nothing more really to talk about. Space Station beating Pirates on a boat 3-2. Honestly, impressive from Pirates on a boat once again to play a team like Space Station close, but honestly, it looks like they fell apart in game 4 and 5 though, with the scorelines there. And good result once again for Space Station. NRG, I think, got a little lucky in this matchup, to be honest, to get this matchup in round 4, in the round 4 high match. And yeah, like I said, they're a better team than Instinct, and to be honest, once again, so I mean, they're all one goal games to be fair, so I don't want to disrespect Instinct too much. Um, well, yeah, NRG with Drees, I mean, they made top 8 for the first time in a while, so yeah, I mean, must be good. Low, round 4 low matches, OG 3-0 in Dignitas. I mean, this is first of all credit to OG. Very good result for them. Two, they obviously they reversed swept Swiss in the end. So to have the mental fortitude to come back from going 2-0 down again, to think it's going to happen again, going over in Swiss, underperforming, letting people down, to have the mental fortitude to come back from that. I mean, yeah, it's very good. I mean, they have 3 veterans at this point of RLCS, especially JNAPS. I mean, he's been in RLCS for so long now. But let me talk about Dig for a second. Oh my god, it's so disappointing to see Dignitas going just go 1-3 in Swiss. I mean, they they. I mean, I don't know what to say, to be honest. I didn't think Evo played. I feel like Evo was their star player when they made top 4, and it just seemed like he did not play even a shell of himself in this regional. And yeah, they go 1-3. I mean, they're still in the running for major spot, considering teams like Shopify as well just um, teams like Shopify just balled out as well. And teams like M80 cannot seem to get a Swiss to get a playoff win, so they're still in the running. But we really need to fix up for that one. Other notable results: Luminosity sweeping. I mean, you expect that. Good result from them. TSM sweeping as well. I mean, at least they go one round further than last regional for them. But like I said, I expect a little bit more. But nonetheless, a good result for them in round. Final round of Swiss round 5. Pirates in a boat, 3-0 in TSM. I mean, I think Pirates in a boat have proven now they are just a better team right now. They once again make the playoffs, so that's really props to them. Really good. And yeah, I mean, this matchup, I mean, 2 1 goal games, but I think it's quite comfortable in the end. I mean, it was a sweep. Moving on to OG, they, to be honest, dominated Instincts. They hit a really nice 0-second goal as well. I think it was in this series to win the series, so OG making Swiss, thankfully, honestly, this roster, I think the pros predicted this roster to be a top 4 team. So honestly, making Swiss is the bare minimum for this roster, but I'm just glad they at least they have bounced back and they have not fallen in the depths as well. That's good to see. And Luminosity winning 3-1 in Omelette. I feel like Luminosity just that team always goes. I feel like that team is just they always play it like to like the margin. I feel like they always like a game 5 or a round 5 team. Maybe that's just because Rhett is on the team and he's renowned for stuff like that, but nonetheless, Luminosity get the job done. They 2 OTs, but honestly, I didn't really see Luminosity ever losing the series to Omelette. And yeah, I think as well, this top 8 is a little bit stronger than last regional's top 8 as well for NA, and with teams like OG in there as well. NLG, I think maybe as well. I mean, they were playing good, so yeah, I think we've got a strong top 8. Moving on to the quarterfinals, it was we had a couple good series and a couple absolute sleeper series, and we start with probably the sleeper series, honestly, of the tournament. This was a very ugly series. NRG really did not show up, to be honest. I mean, look at the score lines. Luminosity destroyed them. I want to shout out Cheese as well. Cheese really, in the playoff bracket especially, really performed well. Popped off um, in the playoff bracket. But yeah, I mean, geez, the NRG. I mean, for NRG just got stuck in defense. They just kind of hit the ball away, and Luminosity were always there just to get their clears and just punish them for it for making sloppy touches. And yeah, I mean NRG. I mean they swept Luminosity in the Swiss as well. And that's what's so disappointing about it. And just to get rolled over like that is just it's very disappointing to say the least. And makes me worry for NRG quite a lot. But you gotta you gotta take things into context. The Swiss round was good. It's the first tournament with Drees as well, so I think it's a decent result for NRG. Just very disappointing how they get eliminated. M80 versus OG. Um, like I said, M80 just cannot win a playoff match to save their lives. I mean, I don't. It must be a mental block at this time because just I don't really know what more to say. It's like the Swiss M80 and the player from M80 is just night and day with how they play. It's crazy, like the difference. But for as disappointing as M80 were, let's give credit to OG because especially some of the pre-jump plays from OG in this series, were insane. I think they hit two in game one, which was just nuts. And yeah, OG played very, very well. JNaps especially really popped off to be like to play for as long as he has and to be so good still. It's just yeah, it's glad to, I'm so glad to see JNaps is still there, proving that age doesn't necessarily mean you're worse at the game as well. You don't have to fall off if you put in the work, and JNaps is proof of that. Um, yeah, moving on to Genji Space Station. This series was probably the series of the day. Um, Obviously, they played in the quarterfinals last time. Genji did win in a more comfortable fashion last time, so Space Station did play him closer, which is good to see. Lots of OTs as well. Space Station, I feel like letting a few goals towards the end of the game sometimes, and it kind of cost them towards the end of the series. Um, Fun fact: so Space Station have only ever, I think, I'm pretty sure they've only ever lost to G2 and Gen G, which are regarded as the top two teams in the region right now. So and they've only got two top eight finishes, which doesn't reflect where they should be. So if Space Station can just avoid them two teams in the playoff bracket, I have faith that they will probably be the favourite to get that fourth place in the major. I back them to to make major, and yeah, I mean a few mistakes here and there for Space Station, but I think a solid series from them. Genji, I mean, not much more to say really. I mean, kind of similar as to last time for them. They played well. They got a few late goals, so they clutched it out. They won more OTs as well, so they clutched it out. And yeah, and they're just showing that they're not to not disrespect them just because they can't beat M80 and Swiss, and they kind of got smashed by G2 in the finals last time. Doesn't mean they're a bad team as well. Alright, now on to the final series of the quarterfinals. G2 versus Poab. Now as 4 hours go, this is a very respectable 4-0, as you can. There were two OTs. I think there were three one-goal games as well. So Poa played. I mean, despite only scoring two goals, I mean G2's defense is. I'm not gonna like. I mean, their goal line defense, shall I say, is unreal. To be honest, their clutch saves one after another is incredible. I mean, they do give up quite a few shots, which is a little worrying, especially on this international stage. But their actual clutch defense is insane. Um, the offense is decent. Not more, but better than decent. The offense is good as well. Not outstanding, I'd say, but it's good. As well, it's good enough to beat Poab. But I think a respectable result for Poab, and well done another top eight. But G2 just too strong. Now finally, we move on to Championship Sunday, and this day was quiet sleeper. I'm not gonna lie. There were 3-4-1s on the day. No real close series. Starting off with Luminosity OG. I think OG kind of ran out of steam towards the end. Luminosity just too strong for them, to be honest. I mean, they won the first three games with relative ease. I think Luminosity are really good at teams that kind of just bang the ball out, and especially when we're watching Rettles play is must be so annoying to play against. The way he just bumps and demos, you always have to be hyper aware of your surroundings when you play against him. And Magic Bear and Cheese also do demo and bump quite a bit themselves. So you just have to be on their guard. I mean, I think they really hit a lot of demos on OG, and to be honest, once again, shout out Cheese. He performed amazing. Uh, Championship Sunday as well. He just performed stellar, and yeah, I mean a quality win for LG and massive for their major as well. Top 8 last regional, into the grand finals for the second regional, with teams like Dignitas and Shopify failing to perform in the second regional. It puts them in a really good spot for the major. Now onto the second semi-final, the rematch of last regional's grand final, and it honestly was a bit of a similar story, to be honest. Actually, I think both teams played better this series. G2 did win 4-1, so you might think that upon watching it wasn't that close, but honestly, Gen G had so many chances to score. The fact they only scored 3 goals in them 5 games is crazy. I mean, they missed. I mean, I'm not. They missed some real sitters. A couple open nets. I remember Jack had like 2 wide open nets he missed back to back. And then, like I said before, G2's like last man defense is crazy. I mean, all 3 of them do tend to stack the net a bit, so they kind of put like a last. They don't really go out to meet the ball, and they kind of, like I said, they all 3 of them kind of go back to net, but their actual like goal line saves and goal line defense is crazy good. Reminds me a bit of FaZe from last season. Just always, but honestly, it's like having, but just with 3 players that can save, that can pull off these insane saves. And I mean, they needed it for this series. Don't get me wrong. Gen G had quite a few shots, but yet G2 can just keep them out. And I remember Atomic hit a really nice shot, probably shot of the tournament in, I think it was game 2 as well. So when G2 are doing stuff like that, it's so hard to beat them. When they're putting off shots like that in the offense, got crazy goal line defense as well. It's just difficult to beat them, and I think 4-1 doesn't do Gen G too much justice. I think they play better, nowhere near as many unforced errors from them. So yeah, I think the next time these 2 teams play, I reckon, I pray at least, and I do generally believe this, that it will be a very close series. I'm feeling a Game 7 next time these 2 teams play. Finally, we go on to our grand final of G2 versus Luminosity, and it was honestly quite a terrible series to watch in terms of gameplay. Games 1 to 4 especially were quite bad. There were lots of unforced errors, lots of mistakes, there were lots of memes as well. Follow my Twitter, by the way, if you haven't already. There's lots of good memes I make there on Twitter, and discussions as well. Um, yeah, so lots of bad gameplay, but no matter what, good gameplay, bad gameplay, G2 will remain supreme in North America. They win the series 4-1 in the end. I mean, it was a close series in terms of games, like both, except for the final game. That was a bit of a blowout, and that's when G2 started to actually play well. To be honest, I don't think games 1 to 4 they played particularly well either. But I mean, it just feels like G2 owns NA right now. I mean, 4-0, 4-1, the last 2 grand finals. Yeah, I mean, now it just begs the question is, can G2 do this on an international stage? I'm probably leaning towards, um, can they do this? No, I don't think so. But I think that they can be competitive. I generally think that they're probably the only North American team who can actually probably take it to the, well, at least to the European teams, to Falcons, to Complexity, to Furia. I do not have that much faith in North America, especially after watching this regional. This regional was uh, not great in terms of gameplay wise. I do not think it was anything stunning, but I have some hope for G2. I think their playstyle is a bit worrisome, but I think if anyone can pull it off, it would be these three players. They are probably, I mean, three of the top five players in North America right now. And yeah, I think if anyone can pull it off, it would be G2. For Luminosity though, like I said, they'll be quite proud of that performance. It puts them in a very good position for major, and I back them to be honest to make the major. And it'll be great to see them as well because I think they can do something at the major. I'm not entirely sure whether they can actually compete at the top level of the major, but maybe they can pull off a couple upsets. I think that will be realistic for Luminosity. Alright, that is it for my recap of the RLCS N8 Open Qualifier Event 2. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on this video. Comment down below what you thought. I'd always read your comments for some feedback as well. So like I said, subscribe as well for more RLCS content, RL Esports content, and Rocket League content in general. If you like some clips as well, check out the shorts. I always try and post some of the best clips from the recent RLCS regionals. And yeah, some on all regions as well. I'm expanding to all regions. Alright, without further ado, goodbye.